This is In My Lounge Room, and I'm your host, Sky.
And I'm your other host, Damo. And on today's show, we're talking about body image and dating. What do you think of that?
Well, I danced.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, I thought I'd try something different. So
I like it.
there you go. Just it's an inspiration from Troy from the last email. So I'm like, as I mentioned, I'll remix it. Who knows what I'm going to come up with next week? But I'll probably just go back to the original. But
Look,
yeah,
I like it a lot.
It's
It
fun
made
for
me
now.
want to like groove along.
yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
How are we?
You know, life is awesome. Kids are great. Oh, I'm now back to full-time at work, so life's pretty busy.
Excellent, as it should be. Nothing wrong. I mean, nothing worse than being idle, but also nothing wrong with it.
I mean, it was nice that every Monday when I was just able to get jobs done, like making beds.
Yeah. Well, I've had a pretty casual week, so I can't really complain because I've been working from home this week. I have a week on, week off. This was my week from home, and it kind of sucks. But at the same, it's hard to do my job from home. But at the same time,
That's true.
Speaking of being idle versus being active, we're talking about body image and others, our own body image, others' perception of our body image, and how it relates to the dating world, I suppose.
Okay, so I think let's talk about our own bodies in relation to like our body image, our confidence, and then how that affects dating. And then we can sort of go into like, you know, other things. So, okay, so we'll start with me because, you know, so everyone probably knows if you listen to previous episodes about my struggle with bulimia and body dysmorphia. So I think dating definitely has been affected by my own confidence and my body image. And I think I've always felt like unless I'm super skinny and super perfect, men aren't interested in me.
Does that come from your entire life, or has that changed since being single?
I don't know. I think I've always been aware of how I look. Like when I was probably 18, 19, 20, I was about a size 12 to 14, still fit, but more curvy. And no one really was affected by my body shape. Like men were still attracted to me. And I think returning to the single life as an older woman, maybe, like I was 36, maybe that has affected how I see myself.
Yeah. Does it also come from that when you're in a long-term relationship, you get that, I mean, people say complacency, you get a comfortability, but then because you're not possibly being judged on that as, I mean, I'm not going to speak for everybody because that's actually a contradiction right there, because a lot of people in long-term relationships are heavily judged by their partner for their weight and whatnot. So, well, then on that side of the coin then, if you spend so long, how long were you with your...
14 years.
Okay. So for 14 years, you get that sense that you are judged, right, for not being perfect or whatever. And then when you're out in the world meeting people, you've straight away got that in your head. People are going to judge me for how much I weigh based on the conditioning that you've been put through.
And keep in mind, I've always been around gyms and gym people, and so a lot of my friends were always super slim, and I always felt like I had to be like that. And I remember comments being made about, you know, curvier girls, and some of these were women saying this. So I've always been that, you know, sort of attitude of I have got to be slim, I've got to look good.
Do you think that it's interesting you said that it comes from women. Do you think that women put more pressure on each other than men do? But do you think that the reason women put pressure on each other is because of that expectation that was created by men?
I think it's almost like a vicious cycle, isn't it? You know, so I tend to go towards more like gym guys, powerlifter guys who prefer like fit bodies. So then it's like this little competition going on. You have to be the fittest, have the best legs, have the best abs, blah, blah, blah.
See, also though, you value fitness as a healthy lifestyle more so than just a purely aesthetic thing.
That's true.
And I feel the same. It's like fitness for me and within myself is I spent my entire life from, well, let's say, so when I was 21, I got run over by a boat and I lost the use of my left leg. So I put on like 10 kilos in a matter of weeks, months. Then over the next few years, because of the lifestyle I was leading, very sedentary, eating a lot, you know how much I love food, I ended up putting on a ridiculous amount of weight. So for me, fitness and health is about prolonging my life. I'm in my late 40s. I want to be fit and healthy because, well, that's all there is to it. It's not about how I look. There's a bonus that comes from that. But I've never really been judged for my weight either, you know, because, well, I probably have, but I think that men don't receive the direct criticism. You know, like I think women cop it more directly from society, whereas men can just get away with being lazy.
Yeah, it's true. And I think the problem is it almost feels like if you're curvier, everyone is judging you.
Can I just, I'm just going to correct myself there. I said lazy. That's not true. It's not about being lazy because some people's weight doesn't have anything to do with how lazy they are. So that's sorry for saying that. It's more about the appearance because people don't know. People will just look at you as overweight and go, they're overweight. They don't know why. It could be a number of reasons why you're overweight.
And also there are people who are super fit and bigger. You know, like there's this whole concept of BMI, and BMI is so dead because it's so wrong. It's based on like middle-aged white men and was created in the 1800s.
What do you reckon Brian Shaw's BMI is?
1 million. He'd be morbidly obese.
Yeah. I mean, the guy's 6'9", and he's probably 230 kilos at the moment.
Yeah.
You get around at 200 plus kilos, but he can lift a car.
Right.
You know.
Yes. So my BMI, if I check my BMI, I'm overweight. Like, and I know I'm not overweight, but my BMI says I'm overweight.
If I look at my BMI, I'm morbidly obese.
There you go.
Well, I'm obese anyway. The morbidity part comes into your obesity is going to kill you. And that's why the term morbidly obese is used.
So let's just say that BMI is the worst way to look at weight. We know that.
It's another one of those things that puts a psychological pressure on people because it's a number that can be quantified, right? So when you see a number and you're not that number, then you are going to go, oh, no wonder. Like, look how unattractive I am. This number tells me that. It's got nothing to do with it.
No.
And also I think, like, when it comes to perceptions, like I was saying before, men versus women or whatever, there's a perception of self versus the actual perception that people have of us.
Yeah. And I'll say that because I look in the mirror still and I go, yeah, I don't like what I see. And I'm assuming that's what everyone else is thinking. And then I get really shocked. So I did on Perth Singles and a couple of other things, I did like a video of like, look at my like rolls. And everyone's like, what rolls? And I'm like, those rolls. I mean, I've probably lost about 7-8 kilos anyway because I'm working towards a comp. But I still see myself as like what I was 6-9 months ago.
Oh, and I completely understand. I mean, I spent 40 years being overweight. Well, not 40 years. When I was a teenager, obviously I wasn't. I was very active. I was a volunteer firefighter. I was playing in a band. I was skateboarding, playing football. I was fit. After the accident, things changed. But I look in the mirror and I see like a silverback gorilla, you know? You know, they're sitting there with the big round belly and the huge arms. And like,
Yeah.
that's beating my chest. That's what I see. Like, and gorilla's a great, big, strong, majestic beast, but it's not pretty.
No, but they're pretty cool.
They're pretty cool. So
Yeah.
I wish I was a gorilla, not just feel like I look like one, but people will be like, that's not what you look
You
like.
do not look like that. In fact, we've had this discussion before where you've sent me messages saying I don't like what I'm looking, and I'm like, look how strong you look. You look awesome. And I'm the same. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so overweight. I'm not.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Our self-perception misconstrues the reality. And like I was saying earlier, I was at the gym the other day, and one of the there's a bodybuilder there who he's ripped. He's a tank. He'd be like 8% body fat at the moment. He's probably like 85, 86 kilos. He's only short, but he is a tank. And so when he says to me that I look strong, he's like, you're one of the strongest guys here. I'm kind of like, well, but I'm fat. He's like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's how I feel. So your perception going into, when we relate it to dating and relationships, your perception of yourself is going to make you think that's what other people see.
And which is why when everyone says, why are you not confident enough to approach guys out in public? It's because I'm assuming that they're looking at me going, oh, look at her. She's overweight or she's not attractive. And that's really sad.
Yeah. And I know we've had this conversation in private before, but I've never approached someone in a bar in my life. I mean, I have spoken to people. People have come and talked to me, but I've spent my entire life feeling unattractive. Like when I was in high school, plus when I was in high school, I thought, well, girls like these guys that play footy. They don't want the skateboarding musician who, apparently I was
What
wrong.
are you talking about? Yeah, totally wrong. Like everyone, Avril Lavigne, Skater Boy.
I know, right? And then playing a musical instrument and being able to sing is apparently quite attractive.
Very.
But it took me a lot of time to realise that it wasn't just about how I looked. So I'm like going, oh, look, I've got disproportionately large arms and I have acne. Right? I had bad acne in high school. I'm like, first thing I'm going to do when I can is grow a beard because I need to cover my face. So then when I put weight on after my accident, I started growing a beard to cover up my double chins, to cover up my acne. It wasn't covering anything except for my own insecurities.
That's right.
So, yeah. I think your own insecurities are picked up by others. So, but getting back to how it, in the real world, not just in our own heads, things like online dating, people, what are we going back to? Catfishing, right? You discussed this in the catfishing episode. It's people misrepresenting themselves in some way.
Yes.
I think that because of our insecurities that are created around our body image, we do things like when we go on to dating apps, we misrepresent ourselves, which is a problem because then you fall into that trap where you meet someone, you don't look like what you look like in your photo because all your photos are close-ups of your face or those high top-down ones where you can stick your chest out. And men do it too. Put some sunglasses on so you can't see the bags around my eyes.
You look like a supermodel.
Yeah. Filters and all that. And then you meet someone and they reject you. They're not rejecting you for what you look like. They're rejecting you for the lie. But the lie is created by your insecurities, which are created by society's pressure. So it's this, like you said, it's this horrible circle. And so therefore, when you get rejected and you go, I got rejected because I'm fat, that must be the problem. No, it's not. But that cycle will never end because you're like, I have to hide it. Otherwise, no one's going to swipe on me. And if they don't swipe on me, I can't meet anyone. So therefore, I'll show that I'm not fat. And then they meet me. But it doesn't work. Just present who you are.
Yeah, and I really do. Like on dating apps, I am 100% who I am. My body's the most like up to date photos, so that I'm not saying, oh, I still look 10 kilos heavier, 10 kilos lighter, whatever it happens to be. So I think from that perspective, from the online dating side, I do okay there. But I don't know what it's like to be a fat woman. Like, let's be honest, I'm not fat. I have issues with my own body image, but I know I'm not fat.
And I think it's also it's a self-fulfilling prophecy where you are, because you're misrepresenting yourself. I do good English.
You do.
It sets you up to meet these men and women, I'm sure women do it too, who are looking for someone skinny, and then when they meet you, they make you feel bad because you're not what they want. And so we have these people who are like, oh God, I met her and she was so overweight, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be skinny. If you showed your true weight in your dating profile, in your Facebook photos, Instagram, whatever, the men who are shallow enough to judge you for you, and okay, maybe it's not about shallow. That's what you want. If you want someone skinny, you want someone skinny. If you want someone fit, you want someone fit. There's a whole group of people out there who love overweight women and men.
That's true.
It's a fetish. There are websites dedicated to it. There are apps where you can meet just overweight people. But in normal things like Tinder and Bumble and everything else, if you show your true weight, the men who aren't interested in that aren't going to swipe on you. It's only people who are comfortable with it that will swipe on you. So then you get to meet someone who's comfortable with it.
Okay, so what about the guy that I was seeing for a couple of months, and it was when I was doing strongman comp, so I was quite small. Saw him for a couple of months, then did his mum die? Anyway, something sad happened, and he just wanted to have a break. I was like, fine. And then in that time, COVID happened. I put on probably 7-8 kilos. We caught up again, and then he admitted, and I said, look, I've put on a bit of weight. It's COVID. He's like, it's fine. And then after we saw each other, he was like, yeah, I don't think this is going to work. And I was like, is that because I'm bigger? He's like, well, yeah. And I was like, oh, nice, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I lost 42 kilos one time, right? Put a little bit back on. Lost it again. Now I've learnt how to maintain and sustainable weight loss is fine. But it's an achievable thing. So you can work together with your partner to lose weight if you want. If you're a fit person and your partner puts some weight on, instead of making them feel like crap about it or rejecting them, maybe encourage them to join in with your lifestyle. You know, if you have that kind of relationship.
The crazy thing about it is that I went from a size 8 to 10 to a 12. It's not like I went from like 12 to 24. I didn't double in size, but it at that moment I was like, yeah, you're too shallow. I don't want to know you.
I've got plenty of overweight friends, male and female, who don't think they're good enough because of their weight. And like, your weight's not who you are.
Right, exactly.
And I've got a friend of mine, actually, a quote of hers. She's like, I have fat. I am not fat.
Correct.
Like my existence is not fat. I carry fat. We all carry fat. Some of us carry more. She was carrying a lot. But she's like, so therefore a man saying to me, oh, you're fat, she's like, well, I'm glad to see your eyes work.
Yeah.
Because I am. I'm carrying fat. What's your problem?
Yeah.
You know, like, you're a judgmental dick. So
correct. I'd
rather be fat.
And you know what? There's no problem with that. Like, there's this, I mean, the whole fat phobia, like, world now, getting away from the fact that fat means you're a failure when there's an amazing amount of successful people out there. So I'm hoping that will like slowly transition into dating where guys go, oh, well, this woman's like intelligent, funny. Okay. And she's a size 20.
If your confidence in yourself is there as well, you're going to just carry yourself as who you are, and you're going to meet men who appreciate that.
Yeah.
They're not going to judge you for anything. Not for that anyway. I know I've got a friend.
Catalina?
Okay. No.
Oh.
I do have a friend called Catalina. Well, that's not her name, but anyway. I'm gonna call this friend Rose.
Rose. Hi,
okay.
Rose.
So Rose, once again, not her name. Rose has been seeing this guy for a couple of months. Met him through a dating app. He's really fit.
Ooh.
Really fit. He's tall. He's well over 6 foot. He might be 6'1", 6'2". I don't know. He is a good-looking guy. It works out. I think he's into arm wrestling. So he's good upper body. Not much in the legs, but that's all good.
That's a fail for me.
It's okay. He's tall, Some of them have got skinny legs. Anyway, now Rose is overweight. She's comfortable with that.
Good for her.
She's never had a problem with men not finding her attractive. Obviously, there's been men that don't find her attractive, but she's never had a problem with finding men who find her attractive, right? Now, she hasn't had hundreds of relationships. She's not one of those people. She doesn't she's not into casual hookups and she's had a couple of long-term relationships. I'm not going to get into numbers, but her numbers are low because that's important to her. Connection, compatibility, commitment. It's all big. So she's not just going to throw it out there for some guy for showing interest in her. Now, what's happened is this guy, he's told her all the right things. Okay.
Not love bombed, but just...
No, it's textbook.
Okay.
Right? He's used the... my ex-girlfriend was really skinny and, and stereotypically hot, but I'm actually into larger women. So you're actually my type. You're more about what I'm into. Breaking down that kind of your self-esteem walls or the walls created by your possible lack of self-esteem. She doesn't have that self-esteem issue.
Yeah, she's a confident woman.
Yeah, she is. But men are going to just go, oh, well, she's overweight. She has to have self-esteem issues, right? So I've got to do this. But he's done all these things and he seems like a lovely guy. He says all the right things, spends some time. But he's got there's something not right. Yeah. And the thing that stands out is the secretive nature of his time with her and how all along, like in the beginning it was, I'm still kind of dealing with getting over my ex, who we broke up with like a year ago. I'm still not emotionally ready for a relationship, but I really like you and I'm really physically attracted to you.
I feel like I've heard this many times.
So if we could, we can spend some time together and take some time and maybe get to know each other and who knows what will happen. And she's like, cool. I'm all about taking it slow anyway because I'm not about to jump into bed with some guy who just showed me interest. Whether she wants to or not, it's up to her.
I like the sound of Rose.
Yeah, no, she's good. She's got her head screwed on. But this guy, he keeps telling her I just want to take my time, don't want to be in a relationship. Doesn't, talk to his friends about her. There's no kind
Red flag.
He's like, she doesn't exist in his world. He has spoken to work colleagues or certain people about her apparently, but no one in his really inner circle. There's been a couple of times where she's gone, I don't think he's invested, but I don't really care because I just want to take it slow. But she does care.
Yeah.
She
because she's a woman.
Yeah, she does, and and she posts things online that say she cares.
Oh.
You know, like that she's saying things about being treated with respect or putting in effort and things like that. Things that a woman wants a man to do, but he's clearly not doing. I don't necessarily agree with the passive-aggressive meme posting, right, in order to get your message across to someone. Mm-hmm. But she doesn't like confrontation, so she's not going to say to him, hey, are you full of it?
Yeah.
But she wants him to know, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
Right? Now, recently, he's gone away on a weekend. She couldn't contact him all weekend. Now, I seem to recall in the past where he's been uncontactable and been like, oh, yeah, no, I was out with the boy. Now, I'm not going to say what he does for a living, but his job does require him to be pretty focused in the job, right? Now, he went away for the weekend and she's like, oh, so where are you going? Who are you going with? You know, nothing wrong with that. He's like, oh, just me and my squad, you know, me and my crew. We're just going away for the weekend.
Crew.
Yeah. So you just assume, oh, yeah, going away with some boys. So on his social media, just after the weekend, he posts a photo of him, a guy with his girlfriend, and some other blonde girl.
Like looking like they were together?
Looking like that. She showed me the photo. Standing there all close to each other, kind of like...
Hip to hip?
Yeah, up close, and like his arms disappears behind her. Whether he's got his hand on her waist or he's just standing close to her, she has no problem leaning into him. There's contact there. And she's tall, thin, blonde, beautiful. Now, Rose is beautiful too, don't get me wrong, but she's shorter and she's larger.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, she's just gone, what?
Yeah, I don't
As
blame
right
her.
she should do, because he has not... And this brings me to the whole fat people as a fetish, right? I hope no one's getting offended by the term fat people, but it
is what it is.
It
now.
is.
Like, if like fat people call themselves fat.
I've been fat my whole life. It's no way to pretty it up. But yeah, larger people being kept a secret because their partners or their love interest don't want to be judged. And that's what this looks like. Is this guy's like gone away, this girl might have been a friend of the couple, might have been a friend, like that might be his mate and his mate's girlfriend, and his mate's girlfriend brought another girl. But it really looks like two couples.
Oh, it makes me sick, to be truthful. Like, I feel so sorry for her. So what did she do?
Posted a passive-aggressive meme. But... and she's also not responding to his text because since she posted something in regards to like being lied to, and he started love bombing.
Of course he did.
Sending her photos of his muscles and, you know, like he's messaging her and she's just like leaving him on red.
Good.
Go. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she deserves better than that. She deserves a guy who is going to be all in because those guys exist. And someone like her who that level of connection and you know, she's not looking for some flash in the pan, some hookup. Otherwise, she'd be doing it every weekend at nightclubs.
Exactly.
She doesn't do that. So...
And he knows this as well.
And so he's taken advantage, coming in there, being all hot and fit and... gone, I'm going to use the big girl for sex. Now, I don't know if they're sleeping together. That's none of my business. But that's what they do. Maybe he's not getting it, so therefore he's turned somewhere else. Maybe he just doesn't want to tell his friends. I don't know. But it's I find that really annoying.
I'm I'm offended for her because, like, how dare he? I don't care if you don't like bigger women or bigger men or whatever. Just be honest and upfront. But to be like leading her on like that, and then clearly what he really wants is the skinny girl, and that's who he's seeing in front of his friends.
Yeah. And what he's wanted, and it's also we spoke in the love bombing episode about Catalina's friend who was seeing that guy who was love bombing. And even that message that she got where they come straight in with, I'm into bigger girls. Because they're trying to use your perceived lack of self-esteem to their advantage. Not all bigger people have got low self-esteem.
No.
Some skinny people have got terrible, but
I've got terrible self-esteem and I'm not big.
You have an ongoing eating disorder that
Yes.
you've dealt with.
Yes.
Right? And you're fit.
Exactly.
So it's you don't your mind is where these things happen. And no one knows what's going on in there.
No one.
So, yeah. So, anyway, I just thought I'd mention that because it's an example of how men will try and penetrate your inner sanctum of safety by telling you what they want so that they can use you because they don't want to be seen to be dating the big girl.
Okay. And yes, and it happens all the time. So, okay, let's sort of like reverse and talk about dad bods for a second. So, my idea of a dad bod is a guy who's fit, but he's a bit softer than normal. Would you agree? I would say you have a dad bod.
Yeah, I think so. I think the dad bod is just that typical kind of, the most exercise you get is mowing the lawn on a Sunday kind of look, I don't think dad bod necessarily has any muscle definition. It's just that kind of like, you're not obese, but you're definitely not fit. You like a beer and a barbecue. You might have a bit of a belly. You probably don't have any ass to speak of because you don't do squats. It's just your dad.
Okay, so I think when I think of dad bod, I think of Matt Damon when he let himself go.
Okay.
If you Google Matt Damon dad bod, yeah, that's what I think of. But what I don't think of is an obese man. But apparently these days, guys are calling themselves they have a dad bod and they're obese.
No, I don't think that's one and the same. Obesity's no, it's the dad bod is like, yeah, I'm still capable, like I said, mowing the lawn, playing with the kids, but your focus is not a six-pack. Like, you don't need one. I don't have a six-pack.
I mean, I
do. It's buried under a good inch of padding. But
all have six-packs, but some of us choose not to show them.
That's right. Yeah, but it's kind of... It's okay, right? Whereas a slightly overweight woman with the same percentage of body fat and the same level of fitness are going to be called fat.
Exactly.
So where's the parity?
I don't know, and that's the thing. Like, you'll see girls be like, I've got a mum bod, and it's usually like the mum tum, and basically that's all they've got, and they consider themselves unattractive. And then there's these guys saying, I've got a dad bod, but they look very overweight, obese, and yet they're the ones that then are looking at the girls who with the softer body, and implying that they're unattractive.
Yeah, and I think, you know what, though? There's always that kind of line that people use about, like, real women have curves, real men have curves. Real women walk and talk have... like a real... I'm not even going to talk about your reproductive organs or your genitalia because a real woman can be a transgender woman as well. You don't have to be a cis female to be a real woman.
No, you
I've got
don't.
non-binary friends who, on their given day, they're a real woman.
And good for them. I think it's amazing. Yeah. It's not 1952 anymore, which means girls don't have to be tiny-waisted, wearing the skirts, looking super feminine. A female is a female. End of story.
But look at Victorian, the photo. It's health to have a little bit of fat on your body.
The Renaissance period when curves were in.
And I think this this unrealistically unsustainable level of body fat that people are going for. Like people like men want to have like 5 to 10% body fat. Women want to have like 10 to 15%. But a man, 15% body fat, that's good.
Yeah.
A woman, 25% body fat, that's good. Women can carry more fat than men because
We
breasts
have
and
to.
hips and things like that. So like Google 25% body fat female, that is fit.
Guess
That is
what
good.
I am?
What are you?
23%.
Well, there you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in body fat percentage, I'm perfect. Well, not perfect. I'm healthy. BMI, I'm overweight.
Yeah, well, I sit at about 32% body fat, but I can lift heavy things.
That's all that matters.
But it's all right. But I just want to kind of turn the corner as well. There's also people out there, and I mentioned earlier, it's their thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be a bit too much. It might go too far into like objectifying, like. But hey, if you're comfortable with being objectified at any size, go for your life.
Do you know what I look at though, like really like fat women, and they're super confident, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm jealous that they're that confident, that they love themselves that much, because often I don't. I don't. I think I look at myself, I fight an eating disorder every day, and I'm like, these sexy women going, yep, this is me. I'm a size 20 and I don't care.
There are women out there who are making money from being fat.
And good for
And
them.
men. OnlyFans, porn,
Yeah.
mukbangs, like people eating
Oh,
on
that's crazy.
internet.
Yeah.
Like, they're making money from it. There's people out there, there's FA, it's called. That's your kink. A fat
Okay.
admirer.
Ooh.
Okay? So if you have an FA kink, you're a fat admirer. There's a cat in this room.
Oh, that was when I opened the door.
Just heard his
Oops.
bell. Don't worry, he'll be fine. There's
yeah.
feeders.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a kink. Guys and girls who like to feed their partner, maybe force feed them. I'm not necessarily saying it's a healthy kink, but it's not my kink. I'm not going to judge it.
And there's people who watch women eat
Yeah.
online, don't they?
I got to confess, one of
Go.
my favorite YouTubers is a guy named Joel Hansen.
Right.
Look him up. He's
Okay.
model versus food. He's an ex-model who's now a competitive eater. And man, he can eat.
Is he overweight?
No, he's
Oh.
ripped.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, he's fit, so it's a bit different. I just like watching him eat huge piles of food. Don't ask me why, but there's just something about him going, I've got a 10-pound burrito and I've got 20 minutes to eat it. And it takes him like 9.
Oh my! I'm gonna. What was his name again?
Joel Hansen.
Joel
He's a
Hansen.
machine. But yeah, so look, trust me, there are people there's someone out there for everyone. You fat, skinny, muscled,
It doesn't matter.
amputee.
Well, I've told you what
whatever.
my not my kink, but what my thing is accents.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so like, don't let society tell you you're unattractive or undesirable. You are somebody's
Yeah.
perfect. And that's that. I just want to sum it up with, I know we've said a lot about, how you should kind of be open-minded and whatever. You don't have to be. If you want to be into skinny people, be into skinny people. Go for your life.
I just want to just say what you said one more time. You're somebody's perfect.
Exactly.
I love that.
But yeah, you can, just to finish my train of thought, you can be into one type of person, but don't treat everyone else like there's something wrong with them if they're not your type. If you like skinny women, good for you. Don't make fat women feel bad. That's really what it comes down
100%.
to. Because these women, like, I know some overweight men and women. I'm an overweight man myself. Trust me, you're somebody's perfect.
Cool.
All right. We got an email.
Yay!
So
we got an email.
Let's read this. So this is from Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Okay, so I'm going to read this out.
Okay.
Okay, if I can see past my microphone. Okay. Hi, Sky and Damo. I came across your podcast not too long ago and just have to say I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
Awesome, Jen. I hope that's healthily obsessed because although she lives in Victoria, so
Okay, we're safe.
Yeah. Okay. I look forward to listening every week. That's awesome. I would like to know, though, as a recently... And she said, ugh. So it's obviously
very recent.
Very recent. I'm also going to point out that the email address is Jen and I'm not going to say her ex's name, but it's Jen and someone last name. So obviously
very recent.
Recent if you're still using an email that has a shared name on it. As a recently single mother of 2 young girls, how do you find the time to go to the gym? I was an active person before having my first, I'm not going to read your daughter's name, and attempted to get back into fitness routine before having my second, but now I just feel so guilty leaving the girl to do me things and taking a Pilates class, etc. I work school hours Monday to Friday and I've thought about maybe taking a class or 2 after work, but no creche is available and my ex-partner works night shift. I've thought about maybe getting a sitter, but not sure about leaving the girls in the care of a stranger. Plus, I'm a little worried that they'll be fussy. After the separation, they've become so much more attached to me, which is making me feel more guilty about even considering leaving them. I would really like to get back into some sort of routine, however, so I'm just looking for advice on how other mums have handled this. Perhaps this would make a great podcast discussion topic, as I'm sure there's quite a few mums in the same boat. Well, it's pretty much what we're talking about as well. Well, ties into what we're talking about, so we will address this. Do you think I'm being paranoid about babysitting? How do you find a reliable and trustworthy sitter? I've asked around my friendship groups and family, etc., and my niece has suggested a friend of hers who might be good at it, or might be a good fit. She's a young university student who's done some babysitting work before. I'm just not sold on the idea yet. Looking forward to hearing you from Jen. Do you want to... Okay, I'm going to go for the points in here and I'll get you to address it because it looks like as she has mentioned single mum, so I'll get you to address that, but I'm also going to give my 2 cents. How do you find time to go to the gym?
Okay, so... I'll be honest, I go to the gym at 8 p.m. at night and I get a babysitter and I get I've got a couple of babysitters who are friends, teenagers, so they're usually year 12s, and I know them and I feel that I can trust them and they met the boys, during the day and I feel confident. But they're asleep. When the babysitter gets to my house, they're asleep. So all the babysitter's doing is basically sitting there as a responsible person if something happens. That's how I do it. Before I did that, I would either do like the creche, or I had a gym where I could actually, it was like a family-friendly gym where the babysitter crawled around and there was a little cage. But basically, I go at 8 p.m. at night or on the weeks and the weekends. So I have my boys 95% of the time. When they're with their dad, I make sure I go to the gym and I take advantage of that. So that's how I work. Because
she's pointed out there is no creche there, but she's got the option of a sitter. So the next question is, do we think she's being paranoid about babysitting?
I mean, yes and no. Like, I understand because obviously there's been stories, but don't obviously just choose some random. Yes, go with someone meet them a couple of times with the kids, maybe do a day session where you feel you can go away, you go to the gym on like a Saturday at 2 p.m. And then you can progress to either after work or evenings. That's how I would do it.
There's also, when it says, how do you find reliable and trustworthy sitter? There's sites or Facebook groups that you can find people who use sitters and they come recommended. They come with references. You don't need to go and get an au pair or someone but you can get people who have references, who have security clearances. I've got a friend who she is studying... I can't remember what she's studying at university, but she went and got a working with children clearance.
Yeah.
so she can babysit,
Mm.
and she's got a working with children clearance. She also works with people with special needs.
So another thing you can do is look up the All Pairs Facebook groups, and you'll find there's so many All Pairs who often work school hours. So they just do the drop-offs and the pickups.
Yeah.
And then in the evenings, they're just sitting in their room off and
They'll
bored.
freelance, yeah.
Yeah, and so they will sometimes have to borrow the car or whatever. But yeah, they're happy to do it. I had a beautiful French girl do it for about 6 months. She's now about to have her first baby, and we're still on Facebook as friends.
Yeah. I just want to kind of give my 2 cents on this.
Really? I'm shocked, Damo.
Because Jen's clearly aimed this question at you, because she said, how, as a single mother, how do other single mothers do that? I'm not a mother, but I mean, I'll give a little bit of my history, you
Go
know.
for it.
So for the last 6 years, nearly 7 years since my daughter and my daughter's mum and I are separated, I've been doing 12 and often 13 nights a fortnight of care of my daughter. So I'm the primary carer. I also don't have family. I don't have mum and dad. My dad's passed away, but my mum lives in another town. I don't have people close by. Now, I do have family who live a little bit further away, but I've also kind of, for other reasons, I'm a little bit withdrawn from my family because of things that happened in my family to me when I was a child, that being around family gives me a little bit of trauma. So I distance myself. So for the last 6.5 years, I've been that guy who had to do the single mum thing. I'm not bitching. I'm just kind of addressing the fact that quite often I don't think that
Single dads get enough credit?
maybe, because there's a lot of single dads who just don't. Like, one thing that I got a little bit triggered there is like, oh, X works nights, so therefore there's nothing he can do. Why does Jen have to do? Why does she have to change her life after separation? Why does the man get to go? And this happens with so many men. Why does the man get to go, oh, no, I'm too busy. Oh, no, I'm too tired.
Well, my ex used to just babysit the kids. He wasn't the parent.
Yeah. And that's another thing. You're not babysitting, you're parenting.
Yeah,
So-
because remember last week, it was when we were recording last time, and I said, and my ex sent me a message saying, just ironed the kids' clothes and did something else. And I'm like, yeah, it's called parenting.
Yeah. And also I was saying, like, every day this week you should text him and go, just made breakfast for the boys, just dropped the kids off at school, just doing my job. Of course you are. It's what you do. So, yeah. Jen, all I'm saying is I'm giving my perspective as well, because I've had to live through it. I still do. It's only been the last 2 or 3 months that my ex and I have gone 50-50. Up till now, it's been 95% on me. The bonus is, though, in my favour, is that we communicate really well. Just one other thing, but I can see you want to jump in there. One other thing I want to say is, when I say to people, especially when it comes to dating, when I say to people, oh, yeah, I have majority care of my daughter, women will say, why? What's wrong with the mum?
Oh, that's awful.
Nothing's wrong with her. I'm supporting my daughter and my daughter's mother so that my daughter's mother can have her career, which
is an
she's
amazing
always
thing.
had.
Very noble, yes.
And she works shift work. So I've made the sacrifices in my life because she makes sacrifices in her life, because she doesn't have a social life, because she doesn't get nights off. She works nights. So now we have this arrangement where we pick our daughter up from school for each other.
That's cool.
You know, and we communicate, because that's all it takes. So it does kind of trigger me a little bit, and I'm sorry, Jen. I appreciate what what you're going through, but it does kind of trigger me a little bit that I don't think people realise that men do this too. But I'm aware not many men do.
No, I mean, like, I think the majority only have the kids for every second weekend. You are a minority. I hope that changes, and that eventually there's more and more men taking responsibility. But at this point, it very much is most of the women, although sometimes I feel like they do that because they don't want the father to, feel like they're part of the children's lives either. So that's a bit sad.
Yeah, there's a few reasons. We could probably go into that on another podcast. I just wanted to throw, so people listening know moving forwards that I do get what that's like, and especially and another one is where people go, oh, I have to do this by myself. I'm like, my mum can only help me twice a week. And I'm like, you know how many times my mum can help me? 0. I do everything by myself.
I'm lucky. I won't lie. I am lucky. Although now that my sister's a single mum as well, that has split in two. Now I apparently have to share my mum with her.
Oh, God, heavens forbid.
So rude.
So, and also my ex-partner, she doesn't have any family here either. So between the two of us, we've got no support network whatsoever in a family sense. So I do understand the pressures of having to find time or make time. What I do when it comes to training and exercise, I set up a home gym.
Yep.
So I can do weights at home. I have a gym membership. I go to a gym just down the road from my office at lunchtime, and I do 30 minutes of really intense cardio 5 times a week.
Can I just say, as everyone knows, I am a personal trainer. So if you do need some help setting up your home or getting even a home program, I can help.
Sky has done tailored program for me, which has been a strength-focused program. And I still, even though, talking earlier about body image, and I look in the mirror and I see a big gorilla, I see a big gorilla with huge shoulders and strong arms now and quads. And, I've got muscles that I probably always had, but now I look in the mirror and I go, yeah, okay, I'm tubby and I've got man boobs and the dad bod, but I've also got vascular biceps and, and delts, and I'm like, cool.
Exactly.
So, and I do look strong. So, and that has come from the hard work. So, I highly recommend.
Oh, stop it.
And if you, for me, it was losing weight, getting strength, but you can find Sky on Instagram.
Certainly
you can contact us through our email, skyanddamo@gmail.com. Our Instagram is In My Lounge Room.
That's it.
Yeah. Very easy to find. Give us a follow.
Totally. Cool. Well, I think we've covered this subject extensively.
Mm-hmm.
So, I could talk for another 50 hours, but I think we need to leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening next week?
Well, we've got a special guest.
We do, and I'm super excited.
Yeah. So, tune in for that one. Don't want to say too much because we don't want to give the, want to show home. We want people to actually come back.
Yeah.
But this is a single parent who balances her work life, her parenting, and we're going to talk about dating, work, what she does, whatever she wants to talk about, really. Just get another person's perspective.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I knew her when before I became a single mum, and then we just reconnected lately, and I was like, yes, this is a good one.
Excellent. So that's all I've got to say. Well, it's not all I've got to say. I've got heaps to say, but we do have to wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up then. I'm sad. And also because our children who are in another room are getting louder and louder.
Yeah, you can probably hear them. But then that comes, once again, just addressing what it was. That's just how it has to be for us because this is our weekend with the kids. And
we want to record.
Yep. And they're in there eating and yelling and whatever they're doing. The cat's in here running away. So
it's crazy.
Let's get back to normal life.
Totally. Love it. Right. Okay. Look after yourself.
Yeah. See you next time. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.